Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to Accountable Tech and Design It For Us for convening us after today's historic Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. And I'm also very grateful to many of the young people and parents who are here today standing up against our big tech CEOs, and they are demanding change in our country. After years of inaction and refusing to confront the problems of big tech, which they created, their CEO showed up today with even more excuses. It was outrageous what happened. For far too long, major social media platforms have deliberately and repeatedly violated the privacy of young people working to keep their eyes glued to the screens. Study after study has shown that big tech's pernicious practices are continuing and contributing to this crisis. Big tech is knowingly fueling a mental health crisis in our country. Here are the statistics. 2 years ago, 1 in 3 teenage girls contemplated suicide in the United States of America. 2 years ago, 1 in 10 teenage girls attempted suicide in the United States. 2 years ago, 1 in 5 LGBTQ youth attempted suicide in the United States, and the Surgeon General of the United States has implicated social media as one of the principal causes of this mental health crisis for teenagers and children in our nation. And it is absolutely essential that we pass legislation that gives the protections to the parents of our country which they need in order to protect kids. In 2018, an internal Meta report estimated that 4 million kids under 13 used Instagram, representing 30% of all kids aged 10 to 12 years old in the United States. Another Meta document acknowledged they do very little to keep kids under 13 off their platform. Facebook, Instagram produced numerous research reports that estimated different statistics that clearly indicated the company's knowledge of use of their platforms by children under the age of 13. Why is this important to me? Because in 1998, I was the author of the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. I wanted it to be up to age 17, but big tech said no, but at least I got children under the age of 13 covered by the Child Online Privacy Protection Act. That's where you see these companies sued and sued successfully for their abuse of this information. But it's not enough. We need to raise the age up to 17. We have to say to parents, you have a right to say no. Stop collecting data about my children. Stop targeting my children with ads that I don't want them to see, and give me an eraser button that allows me to erase all information you've gathered about my teenager, about my child. Give me the knowledge that you're gathering information about my child. Notice that you're using it for other purposes other than that which the parents had intended, and the right to say no, stop it. So we have to pass this bill. It is absolutely urgent that we have a privacy bill of rights for every teenager and child in our country. We have a right to say stop gathering information, stop targeting children and teenagers, and allow for an erasure of any information. So otherwise, it's just going to be the same old story over and over again. And the big companies are going to say, do you know how difficult this is? You have no idea. Well, they can create an algorithm that goes from here to Osaka and back in a quarter of a second. But if you say, oh, could you please protect teenagers and children? You don't know how complicated that is. Well, for parents in our country, they know how simple it is to once and for all say, stop the excuses. We want solutions, and we need legislation passed now that empowers parents and teenagers and children to be protected against this onslaught of mental health crisis inducing information going into the minds of young people in our society. So that's where we are. This historic hearing has put all the CEOs right on the front page. But an apology by Mark Zuckerberg is not enough. We need action. We need laws. We need protections that are put on the books. So we're fed up with apologies. We now need action, and we have to take on big tech with or without their cooperation, because the mental health of young people in our country is at stake. Thank you all so much for everything that you are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Co-sponsor COSA, Senator Markey.
Thank you so much, Senator Markey.
COSA, Senator Markey.
On the note of COSA, I am really excited today to also have the pleasure to introduce two senators who have been champions in the fight to protect kids online. Before I actually introduce them, though, I do want to make space up here behind me. If any of the parents want to come up here, or other activists, you're more than welcome. We can all spread out. It is cold here, so feel free, if you want to come and join us behind the podium, you're more than welcome. But without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce two senators, Senator Blackburn and Senator Blumenthal, who will be coming up here together, I believe, to share their remarks about why this fight is so important. Thank you so much.
Well, good afternoon. We are just so thrilled that you all are here and that you've been here today to participate in the hearing. So we thank you for that. We thank you for your advocacy. It means more than you could possibly know. But as you heard at the hearing today, it is time for us to make certain that big tech stops looking at our children as the product. And it is time that we put in place provisions that are going to protect our children online. And it is time for big tech to stop funding armies of lawyers and lobbyists who push back against federal regulation in the virtual space. So we thank you so much for your work. We do think that this is going to help us get COSA across the finish line, because you all are such effective advocates, and to make certain that our colleagues here in the Senate, those in the House, realize that the Kids Online Safety Act would give parents and kids the tools that they need to protect themselves in the virtual space. It would put a duty of care on these social media platforms, require them to design for safety. It would make certain that every year they're going to submit to an independent audit to make certain that they are abiding by the letter of the law. And it would require them to have a portal so that parents and kids could report bad actors and adverse activity, and then it would require those platforms to do something about it. I love the t-shirts that were there today that said, "I'm worth more than $270. Indeed, that is very true, because Meta has assigned that value to each teen that is on their site. And indeed, it is insulting to all of these parents and all of these friends that have lost precious loved ones to hear that statement from someone who is the CEO of one of the biggest companies in this country. So thank you for your advocacy.
Thank you. Great job. I want to say thank you as well. You know, the nation's capital is filled with words, with marble, with buildings that are majestic and inspiring. And the words often echo off them without any real effect. But sometimes, just once in a while, There are words that count and people who count. And today we saw it. Not so much in the words, but in the people, in you, in the voices and faces that you have brought to Washington, in the acts of courage that you've demonstrated by coming here, by your physical presence here. Your voices and faces, your physical presence, and maybe most important, your photographs of loved ones who have been lost. Nothing can match the eloquence and power of those profoundly human statements about loss and pain and grief and harm. And all those words that you heard from the CEOs, how much they care, how much they have done, how much they're going to do, you know how hollow they are. You know how empty they will be. But I can guarantee you, we will win this fight for the Kids Online Safety Act. We will win this battle because of you. Because you are inspiring my colleagues, as you did us from the very first moment that I met many of you. And I am profoundly grateful for your courage, your persistence, your perseverance. Courage is grace under pressure. Your grace and dignity and the power of your turning your pain into something positive, I think, inspires us always. So I am here to say thank you. Thank you for being with us today. And it's not the end. It's not the beginning. I hope it is the beginning of the end. The beginning of the end of this fight, and we will win it with your help and your support. Bless you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Senators, for being here. Really can't express